Yeah, these guys play so much, but the games are always usually pretty entertaining. Some good back and forth, some really fun matches. ByuN, his TvZ has just been looking fantastic lately. He's the red Terran in the bottom left corner of the map. And he takes on the blue Zerg in the top right-hand side from KaiZ Gaming. It is Solar for game 1 of this best of 3. We go on to Jagannatha for map 1. Interesting. ByuN, I believe, played a really sick game against Solar yesterday. In a Lima League? Was that yesterday? No, Tuesday was 2 days ago. So 2 days ago in a Lima League. On this map, what's interesting to me is that you play this map in a best of 3 TvZ. What do you veto instead? I mean, you maybe veto Romanticide. I know ByuN has not been much of a Romanticide player. But then, I could understand that in a best of 5 when you play Jagannatha. But in a best of 3, what else do you veto? Lightshade? I guess so. You veto Romanticide and Lightshade and you end up on, like, that's just crazy. That's crazy. Alrighty. Man, I've just been impressed by how frequently these guys have played, and they've kept it interesting as well. As part of ByuN's TvZ, as too, that he's been playing such an aggressive style again and again, and he's been really coming in with multiple different builds, making it very entertaining to watch. It's been a really fun time. As it pops out, is going to head up to the top side of the map. The Marine on the way as well. He's been going from 2-1-1s to just very standard 1-1-1 setups. He's been playing some Hellbat attack. It's just been such a fun mix of stuff from ByuN. And that's why it's still entertaining. Like, if he was doing the same thing every time, which sometimes he used to, then yeah. But it's every series these two play, there seems to be just something different, a different way he tries to play it. I wonder when Solar, maybe this is the time Solar figures it out and can get it fixed up. Loses the Reaper. Solar is a little bit sad about that. And well, not Solar's not sad, but he's like, I think, sad for ByuN. As the Reaper goes down. That's obviously a shame. Shouldn't really be losing Reaper early game. As we do have the Orbital Command about to finish up, and the Starport is building from ByuN in the main base, a tech lab onto the barracks. As double gas is set up, so we can obviously go aggressive from here. Banshee, a possibility. It's a huge map, remember, so long to cross. The big problem for Terran players is typically that the Zerg just never really expands toward you, right? Even when you kind of go here, and ByuN goes here, like, yeah, it's still kind of a long, third to fourth base distance, and of course Zerg can go up here, and then you're just never expanding toward the Terran, and that generally is the problem. Couple Hellions back around. Cloak, Banshee on the way. Couple extra Hellions. It's going to be Banshee in the end then. I mean, I don't mind the Banshee's great way to deal some damage. Definitely something which can be very effective. We have seen that time and time again in the lifespan of StarCraft 2. So Cloak Banshee is always a fun way to get going. Armory of ByuN sets up on the back of the Natural Marine's gonna grab an Overlord and a couple extra Hellions. Will be popping out in a few moments' time. All of these Hellions out of ByuN gonna make their way up to the top side. It's a lot of Hellions joined together. A couple Queens down the right. Killing's being picked away at. Drones are going down. Got 3 drones being picked away by that Banshee, but the Hellions getting into the main base is a huge deal, and this is what we call a roasting and a toasting and a drone barbecue. It's this is not pretty because the Banshee's also stopping mining properly from the natural. The Queens can't get there to help. That's the big issue. The Queens just would be able to deny this. There is a Spore Crawler in range, but because the Hellions are keeping the Queens busy in the main, the Banshee gets opened up for even more damage. And yeah, this is that's a little bit rough as the Banshee through the top side. Well, the Queen shows up there. Banshee continues to skate away. 1-1 upgrades are coming through on the engineering base. And she escapes out of there. Alright, a couple of Evo Chambers coming into play. A few extra drones being added on. And we still have another Banshee of ByuN. Well, it's just going to come straight through and kill off a Creep Chamber just like that. Boom. Cool play, though. I mean, just wasn't expecting the Hellion Banshee to come in with so much success right away. Oh my god, the Overseer just turned around. That's 2 new Creep Chambers that just get denied. He goes back in for this one. Just out of range of the Overseer. Just darting in and out a little bit. Did a bit of fun right there as our Queens set up toward the top side. Again, I mean, this is just tough. You got to rebuild all those drones as solar. Typically now, the first push of ByuN becomes so much, so powerful, right? These first medevacs and Marines. You can see even when 1-1 kicks in, that's going to be a huge time because you're going to have 1-1 against 0-0. Solar is going to try and put down the Hydro Stand. If there's one thing that saves Solar here, it probably is the possibility. As by the way, there's also more Hellions being built, so that's really scary. Because now there's an armory up too. So you can actually morph in a couple of Hellbats, tank a couple of the Banelings, and this push could actually just be game-ending because of it. Banshee in the main doesn't do much. The other Banshee here to the side might be able to take a position. As right now, some creep going down. There's a good amount of Banelings, don't get me wrong. The initial setup actually looks like Solar can perhaps hold. Now this Banshee shows up again, though, and just a few extra drones, right? I mean, it just all adds up. The Queen attacking its own extractor there momentarily. As ByuN reinforces. Again, if there's one thing that saves Solar, it's the length you've got to push across as ByuN to get across the map, right? To reinforce takes a little while here. Oh, this is great, though. Obviously, this fourth base does not have creep on it, so without having creep into play, you're obviously in a bit of trouble there. The Banes are looking for those connections. I tell you what, he's ran past all of the Hellbats, so the Marines have to keep splitting, but eventually it means you've still got Hellbats in the front line, so Lings streaming are not going to be as effective as usual. But it's funny because obviously you don't really want the Banes to go off on the Hellbats, but if the Hellbats are still alive, like I say, then the Lings, which usually stream in to get the final cleanup, well, then they just get cleaned up by the Hellbats, so you still do have to get rid of the Hellbats. Try and put a bit more creep spread out over here, but ByuN's just not going to have any of it, and there's a couple Banes that come through now. Okay, all the Banes just went down. Without any Banelings, this is going to end. The Hydras just do not stand up for themselves. They're very fragile units, and ByuN is going to take the game, and GG is called by Solar. This is G on the Korean keyboard. If you're just in the Korean keyboard instead of the English one, you could argue it's a single. As we've got to the upper right-hand side, upper map, our red Terran player is going to be ByuN. He takes on the blue Zerg bottom left-hand side Solar. I mean, just again to recap that game one, what happened there? Well, we start with a good push, right? ByuN, Hellions run in, they kill a lot of drones. The Banshee gets damage done on the natural because the Hellions pull Queens out of position. The Banshees then continue to pick away at creep tumors and just slow the Zerg down. And because a lot of the creep had to be replaced in the center, what eventually happens is that ByuN can hit the right side of the map, that fourth base, without any creep spread being in front of it. So he gets easy access on that right-hand side to make something happen, and that's a big deal. So that definitely helped ByuN a lot. And it was because of what the Banshees were able to do. And what he actually did, which I think was kind of smart given the situation, is he actually just went back into Hellion production for a little while longer, added a few Hellbats into play, just gave him an extra little bit of tankiness. Just a little bit of extra tankiness. Definitely helping out, definitely going a long way to helping. And it worked wonders, right? Just a couple Hellbats to do work wonders, and they did this time around as well. It was a cute little addition. Just like it wasn't in like a full-on Hellbat attack, but it was definitely like a instead of just going straight in mines, I had a couple extra Hellions in. I wonder if that's maybe because maybe there's a possibility he floated a few minerals. I wasn't paying attention necessarily. Maybe he floated a few minerals. He's like, I can get some Hellions now because of that, and maybe I can do that, and they might have a bigger immediate impact than like a couple of Widow Mines would. This Reaper of ByuN makes its way out down to the bottom side. A couple of Queens on the way up from Solar. Zerglings are on the way out. Reaper gets pushed away in the end, so Reaper gets evicted from the front. Comes back in, a few Zerglings trying to jump in on the Reaper. The speed coming through the hatchery on the 6 o'clock position. The Reaper will go back down there to see what's up. King comes down, pushes the Reaper back a little bit. A couple extra Hellions going to finish in the starport. You want to complete in a few moments as well. Tech Lab on the barracks. Here's a double gas opener again, so no 3cc. Are we going to see Hellion Banshee once more? We are going to see the swap over. And that would be the most common sense setup, although we have seen a Raven build out of a Tech Lab starport in TvZ to daytime. It took us on a bit of a fun journey that we don't usually see. Banshee, no cloak at the moment. No cloak is interesting. Has the gas for it, so it doesn't feel like it should be... It feels like it should be intentional. I mean, a safety Banshee off with 2 base play is weird. Overload will go down. Cloak? Question mark? I feel like this is a mistake. Is he going to build Banshee 2, I guess, is the question. If he just builds Banshee 1, then yeah, I kind of get it, I guess. 1 Banshee? Is that it? I mean, not going cloak for 1 Banshee makes sense, so it looks like maybe it was intentional all along. Okay, then. How interesting. I mean, okay, obviously you don't want to go like mega hard onto the Banshee play, but you want a little bit of it. Yeah, I don't know, really. Usually you do this when you go 3cc because it just adds like an extra little bit of layer of safety, and I guess that can always be true still. It's just, do you need that when you're playing a double gas setup? Well, in theory, not really. What's fun now is you show up with this Banshee, and now obviously Solo's got to take the Cloak Banshee threat very seriously. He did see a Tech Lab on a starport not researching. That doesn't necessarily mean that Cloak didn't start up afterward, right? You know, possibilities. Possibilities. We're going to setting up a couple creep teamers being picked away at, and we do have the extra drones on the way out. Remember, ByuN is looking to protect a perfect record against Solar this month. If he can win this series, he would be 4-0 in series this month against him. It's kind of a difficult thing to do, especially, it's not like Solar's some slouch. It's not like Solar's been playing bad lately. Solar's playing great, knocked out Rogue from this very tournament in the previous round. Like, so, as always, Solar is a great player. So yeah, just funny to have seen that a little bit as Hellions come in. A couple creep teamers going down. Well, drone's getting picked off as the Banshee comes in, and just going to be seeing the couple extra workers going down as well. Hellions continue to move out down toward the bottom. Armory builds up from ByuN into the natural expansion as well. With that creep spread pushing out, we do have a few Hellions going to make their way down the bottom side too. Not going to go really diving. I mean, problem is the Lings are so fast, they'll get back over there very quickly. So, overall, I think it's fair to say it's been a fairly passive opening. Yeah, you kill 4 drones in the end, but yeah. So far, so good. Just going to be seeing the Hellions pulling back away. We do have Lings up to the top side. Really making a bid to get rid of these creep teamers. The creep here is really big because this is one of the big push positions. Setting up tanks around this set of ledges and so on, or mines, and just using this as a way to wrap around and into a base. So denying the creep there is pretty huge. He is going to start pushing to the front now. Maybe if you get some creep here as well, then you've really got creep harassment on all fronts. And if you've got creep harassment on all fronts, it can limit what the queens can do, because then they're limited in what energy they have to work with. ByuN steps back because these Lings counterattack, and he says, okay, well, I need a moment here to be careful, because if I don't step back to deal with this, I could lose my entire third mineral line. So he'll go back home and reinforce. Does not commit through in the end. This does give Solo the time to finish up this Hydroden infestation pit coming through, and I think we can all put 2 and 2 together. And if you put the infestation pit and the Hydroden together, you get the Lurker Den, and then the Hive, the Lurker upgrades. And that's how Solo plans to play out the later stages of this second map here in the semi-finals. Systems down, a couple Lings back away. Now some creep spread being picked away at. So a few creep teamers going down. The Marines take a step back once again, and the Hellbats still out the front there. The Lurker Den's halfway done. And the Hive is building in the main base as well. So again, that Hive up and running, a bit more bio. Coming down to the bottom side as our command center sets up on the third base. That's going to be our fourth, ready to go fairly soon as splits up. Well, that's a fight you want to be careful about as ByuN, because I don't think there's a lot of... Those Widow Mines actually have some good shots. I don't think there's a lot of positives for taking this fight. I mean, he actually traded out pretty well in the end. But, yeah, obviously, as far as Solo's concerned, he slows down the Terran army, and he can get closer and closer to Lurkers. With Lurkers being for Solo the ultimate kind of end game goal at the moment. It's not even necessarily the end game, right? But it's the next real stepping stone for Solo in terms of where he wants to play this composition into. These Widow Mines continue to hit very well. Problem is, this fight is 1-1 versus 2-2. A few seconds more, and we get 2-2 for our Terran player, but then obviously you want to kind of wait for that to properly happen. Bit more bio. We'll push down the bottom side. Creep spread will be being picked away at. Gonna move a command center through to the top. Push through a Marauder on the front. It's going to be picking off a Baneling right there. And we do have a push down the left-hand side. ByuN going to go in for this hatchery. So he's going to aim for that as a couple of Widow Mines move across. Circling goes down. Widow Mines going to start blowing up a few of those Lings. And the Medevac's load up and back away up through to the top side as well. We've still got the rest of the bio that can push down to the bottom right corner. Lings the highest, the +1 missiles, all of this continuing up. A lot of build up here. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen much of the Lurkers yet. Obviously, I guess this is the first time they're really going to be needed. And there's obviously only 5 of them right now as well. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm expecting it to be later in the game than it already is for whatever reason. Yeah, a couple free overlords is obviously nice for ByuN. Grabs those, and just playing two different sides. And I got to say, the one thing that's got to be scary for Solar is, again, the creep spread. The creep is very limited on both sides of the map right now. You know, left and right. So with that in mind, there's no amazing fight for Solar to take. The only good stuff is this creep here. But why would ByuN ever fight there when he can obviously fight toward this space and toward this space with no creep in front of it, or even down into this space? There's just no reason for him to pick a fight on creep, because he's got creep cleared in all the places that are best to fight anyway, for picking away at bases and to, you know, being a major threat. Siege tanks start, and obviously that's a necessity as they start. There's a lot of them now already out, but first time we're really going to start seeing them in some fights coming up here. And like I say, it's really important, because without the siege tanks, you just do not have a extremely stable way to play against the Lurkers. Ghost Academy is down as well, and trusting that you'll go enhance shockwaves. We'll see. I mean, maybe EMPs helps out against the Vipers, right? This allows you to hit the Vipers from a little further away. That was unfortunate. I mean, so unfortunate. That was Solar. Well, it wasn't really Solar's play. It was ByuN's play. Hitting over here, distracted himself from being able to defend over on the other side. He gets a base, though, so... I say defend, sorry. I mean lift up into the medevacs and so on. Oh, he gets a base, but has he stuck around a bit too long? The Vipers put some good blinding clouds down. There are more siege tanks available in the back line, so they will put some work in as well. As the Bio runs off free, it needs to take a few more steps away from the Ling Bane. 60 Lings on the rebuild. I'm a little bit worried. The 7 Lurkers up. 7. Okay, 6 more on the way. There's no Hydras on the map or anything, though. And right now, no Banelings. 4 Banelings. Solar has money to morph in more, I guess, so it's not a big issue. There's that creep spread respreading. Really saying, okay, like, hey, this is going to be a problem if we don't do something about it. As ByuN's getting himself ready for a 5th base of his own, trading 5,000 resources, better off so far. In a game where Solar's obviously mining more, but that's why ByuN is getting away with this at the moment, as we'll see the medevac loading up. It's going to fly off to the far left. Going to start running into this pretty much immediately as we continue to pull back. The Lurkers do get burrowed. The other couple of Banes still looking for a connection. As the Bio pulls back over here. Wouldn't mind shot. Going to connect in on a huge chunk of Zerglings. That's massive as the Lurkers come into fire. Now, we do have a few Marines over here still as well. It looks like the most they will get is maybe a couple of drones or so. ByuN just wants to establish base 5, right? It is important for him to have more than just the 4 bases of mining eventually here. This is not a game you're going to win with 4 bases. While you're trading really well against Solar, now a 7,000 resource loss difference, Solar is still mining a lot. And so you need to just keep mining yourself. That's Solar's win condition, to deny the economy to a point where the Terran just can't rebuild despite having traded extremely well up until this stage. Few snipes coming down, and the first couple of Lurkers actually getting picked away at there. There's another couple of snipes that are going to come into play. The Marines on the left side making a play onto the hatchery. Hatchery gets picked off. The Lings are going to run in. Marines will fall. And now the Ling Bane army down to the bottom side once again. Just going to be seeing the cloak setting up on the Ghost Academy. +3 vehicle weapons coming through on the armory. Lurkers are going to turn back around the right-hand side. Just going to be seeing the Corruptors of Solar still seeing where they can get to. Back down into the center now here. ByuN is going to drop a few snipes. Again, Lurkers taking a whole bunch of shots. And these snipes are great. He just got rid of a lot of the Lurkers. He's going to line up for one more. And one more just ran into siege tank fire. All of a sudden, the Lurker counts down to 4. This onslaught of ByuN continues down the right side. His drop on the left cancels the hatchery again. Banes will now clean this out. But obviously, you're putting Solar under pressure. Solar needs these bases. He's got 82 drones that need to be mining. When your efficiency is minus 12,000, it's, well, it feels more than just necessary, honestly. Can it be more than necessary? Is that a thing? Yeah, I mean, this is really bad for Solar. Let's just leave it at that for the moment, huh? Well, a couple of blinding clouds going down. The ByuN's going to back away. The Ghost this time maybe a little bit exposed. And they're actually going to be left in the front there as the Corruptors come through. Solo's going to grab a bit of a better fight. Funnily enough, the best fight he finds is when most of his lurkers are dead. And now he doesn't actually have the lurker count to really take a position. And that's a shame because now the lurkers can't really hold the ground. So even though you've won a fight, you can't really capitalize on it very easily. ByuN has more bases, and obviously the top left has got to be a target for him at some point in the future. In terms of another base to mine from, ByuN's bank is gone, Solo's bank is gone. Now, that was a much better fight from Solo. It brings it back a little bit. ByuN just, like I say, Ghosts trapped out on their own. They're not really in a position to do anything either. The Lings, the Banes, all of this moving down to the bottom side as well. A couple of extra lurkers are going to be put into position. A few Banelings morphing in. Let's find another snipe, though. I mean, these are really nice snipes. Just hitting pretty much every lurker from a distance. And maybe this is the problem, that Solo just doesn't have any Banelings again in this army. No real splash to properly help out. And yeah, he can't really fight into siege tanks and all the rest of it. He has so much gas, though, Solo. If he could just find a way to spend that, I mean... More Banelings is kind of just the way to spend it, right? Like, that's not a bad way of dealing with this. And these lurkers just keep dropping. There's 17 lurkers dead in this game already. ByuN's going to make an attempt to get this hatchery. I think he's just going to stand in the single lurker range. And again, hatchery denial is so big right now. The income graph, as you can see, has gone into ByuN's favor. Because he's denying these bases, because he's not letting Solo get the, keep the economy which he wants, which he needs. Command center top left is unable to land just yet as the rest of the ByuN continue to move around. The Ghosts are... They grab a couple of Lings, and again, top left, the rest of the Ghosts, the ByuN continuing across, and we'll finally be able to land this base. So what's great about this for ByuN is that now he rotates to the left side to deny this base. He can take a base while he does this. And so this is kind of a double victory because you're establishing a base while probably denying bases too. Scanner's already down. Tell you what, ByuN's never been caught without a scanner or anything, right? Like, he's always had the detection needed to push back the lurkers. There's a Ling run-by set up here, but only Ling's not going to be enough against a planetary. Oh, the lurkers turned back for a moment, gets caught again. ByuN's in full control right now. He's got a lot of money to spend, so a bank which needs to be spent to keep on moving up, but he's the one with money. An equal supply against Solo without money, so it does kind of speak for itself in that regard. As double tank siege up, hatchery top left is getting ready to go. Marines are going to make a play for the top left base as well. Coming through, a couple of Ghosts will line up yet again. Another snipe. Feels like I'm on a bit of a repeat mode right now because all that's happening is snipes on the lurkers, but I mean, that has been how ByuN has been winning this game. Big counterattack obviously is going to find SCVs for sure, but what's the end goal of this attack of Solo, right? I mean, you're going to force some, even then, minor damage, 6 SCV kills. ByuN has established a base top left. Resources lost is now at a 14k difference. He's established base top left, got rid of this one, which was potentially going to start mining as well. So the creep will start to recede there. I mean, it's been a 21-minute duel. But a 21-minute duel that absolutely is going to end up in favor of ByuN. Solo needs... I mean, am I being biased? No, right? I mean, Solo needs to win. Basically, Solo needs to win a huge fight and deny at least this base without taking any damage himself. That's what he needs right now. A winning fight that denies this space. That, okay, yeah, he needs to have an army left over because he can't even rebuild. So that's what makes it so difficult, that it's just tough. He's going to take this bottom right base loss as well, and that already is perhaps going to be part of the problem, as now ByuN hits the left-hand side. Solo is just not on the left-hand side anymore. There's a few lurkers left here. Yeah, ByuN doesn't know what's behind those, so he doesn't know how many there are. Otherwise, he might have been able to do even more there, because that was absolutely a set of lurkers you could have ran into. He does lose the bottom right chunk of units, though, as Ghost will not find much. He's going to line up a nuke. We've not really seen any nukes at all until just now in this game. There's a couple of lurkers go down. The nuke's actually going to land unless the Banes get the cancel. Nope. So survives and he gets the nuke off. Only a couple drones lost, but obviously damage onto the hatchery, which will add up over time. ByuN backing away again. Still struggling to spend a bit of his money. This top left base is the last one he needs to take. Solar has every base on the map as well himself. Apart from, I mean, when he rebuilds, obviously he has been losing bases at points. Has to then fix that. Fire coming in, pushing a few of the lings back. Drones are going to be in some trouble here as the ghosts actually have to go running. Maybe the bio needs to turn back up and help. There's a lot of Ling Bane. What's funny is you're at that kind of point where the answer to the ghost is almost just more Ling Bane because there's so many ghosts. Ghosts trade well against the Lings, but against the Banelings, they can be outnumbered a little bit. Solo's going to make a dive up here. You can see he's starting to catch these ghosts as well. Overseers are here. Hey, ByuN's going to be losing a lot in this. As Lings continue to stream in. Reinforcements are coming out from ByuN as well, but Solo's making a really good effort to clean this up. Bio is standing and fighting in range of lurkers. Solo? Has he done it? Okay, it looks really scary for ByuN, but he can play it slow. Lose this base, that's okay. You can still protect this base as well. And then he still does have not one, but about to be two bases top left. So from ByuN's perspective, that was a scary fight, but he can still absolutely survive in this. The only issue is he's going to lose a lot of SCVs on this base over here. That's a little bit of a shame. Maybe could have SCV pulled a little bit sooner, although, I mean, look, it would have still gone down. Okay, well, ByuN has denied a base, and that's obviously a big win for Solar. This is kind of what Solar needed. Like I said, he needed to win a fight that took down bases. And have a win, and like I said, he needed a winning army left over, which is what he had, because then that allowed him to clean up the bases, and then it means he still has an army as well, so that ByuN doesn't just counterattack and win because Solo is out of money. So that was actually a huge, it was exactly what Solo needed. Resources lost takes a huge swing once again. It's because it was so ghost heavy from ByuN. And like, you need ghosts. Now he's down to one ghost, a few more just popping in production as we speak. You need ghosts, but the funny thing is, like I was saying, 15 plus ghosts, and then suddenly mass Ling Bane becomes a problem because you don't have enough to get rid of Ling Bane because the ghosts just don't stand their ground against that. Bit of mine goes off, one Ling picked off, Bio Army trying to set up. As the Lings and the Banes continue to run through, lurkers are fighting in the top side. A lot of these Banelings being picked away at as well. Okay, you deny this base, and at the same time, you're going to deny mining off the low ground. ByuN's army supply is massive in comparison to Solar's. It's just finding a fight against lurkers is going to be the problem. It's a nice snipe, just because it's on a lurker that's low HP, so it does get one hit. Little drop in the bottom right. Lings are running to respawn. Marines will stand and fight, try and hold their ground. So it's SCVs lost from ByuN, who replaces the top left with an orbital. And right now, you take any base you can get. I think ByuN's plan from here should just be to obviously hold the top left, mine that out, and then eventually, if he needs to retake this space, do that when the top left's mined out. I don't think there's any need to stretch yourself out too much. I think a base on the right side now does nothing but invite Solar into potentially favorable engagements. Solar tries to reposition the left side. A 26-minute onslaught of Terran versus Zerg here on Pillars of Gold has led us to what still feels like a comfortable ByuN lead. But you've seen how the fights can go. The only thing I'll say now is obviously the army supply is much better off for ByuN, so you know, in previous fights the army supply has still been even for Solar. Now it is not, so it's going to be more difficult to find a fight like what he found previously. Banes start running in. Parasitic Bomb hits the medevac. Bio to the left-hand side as well is here. Gets the ghosts away from the Banelings. Oh, I see a real attempt to go through and towards the natural, but I mean, Banes are rolling into Siege Tanks. Siege Tanks that have an armor upgrade as well. ByuN's going to win the fight down on the low ground too, and that will do it. Like I say, comfortable position for ByuN. He has an army supply to really fight back this time around. And ByuN 2-0 Solar.